Robinson. Such strength and such speed, look at this! Robinson aiming for the corner, Fowler after him, and Robinson breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking.
You've got two dates there, Leo, 48 and 67. 48 is the traditional timeline.
Most churches teach that 1948 as being the time when the Israel was formed.
And the 1967 is the Unsealed date.
Correct.
Okay.
That's when God actually performed a miracle, and it was during the 6 Day War, and that's when Israel became a nation again, and Israel had Jerusalem
As opposed to 48.
as opposed to 48.
That's right, yeah.
Correct. So all of a sudden you've got Jerusalem through a whole series of things, and we're going to touch on these, because 1948, there's nothing special.
I'm special, I'm happy.
It was created, as we know, by the United Nations.
My country. Not yours country. My country.
And it was just manipulation.
It was a very pleasure to receive you here.
It's not the fulfillment of Isaiah 66:8 in any shape or form.
Thank you.
This
and
pleasure too.
good luck.
Good luck too.
All that happened, the United Nations created the nation so Israelites could go back there,
See you later.
but not necessarily all of them. And I'll tell you why. Because there was actually about 4 key things that happened in 1967, and I think you're going to find this really interesting. And the first one is, it's the start, because Jerusalem, your holy city, has to come back to the Israelites, their control, sovereignty. That happened on the 7th of June, 1967, and that triggered the start of Daniel's final generation of 70 years.
So what was different? The one difference between 67 and 48, Leo?
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
Yep.
The Jordanians had control before 48 and in 48, and they had control of Jerusalem
A
right
big
up
chunk,
to
a
the
big
67.
chunk of it. Yep.
So really, that's it, isn't it?
Yep.
How can Israel be Israel without Jerusalem?
It can't
really?
be. It can't be.
Can't be your holy
Yep.
city, can it, Leo?
No, and absolutely not. And then we work on the other things that happened. We had, and people who have read the book Daniel Decoded in the Nick of Time will
Good
know
book
some of
too.
these things. Yep, they'll get the hang of this. But Ezekiel actually prophesied as far as Jerusalem was concerned, or the Israelites, and this was for the kingdom of Israel that was actually removed from the kingdom of Israel in 722 BC. And he prophesied that by lying on his side for 390 days, that and it was for the repentance of Israel for the kingdom of Israel to God, but that never happened. And as a result, with Leviticus, it had to be 7 times that punishment increased. So what happened was that in 2,730 years on, from 722 BC, is when that punishment was met. That is 1967. So that's another thing that happened at that stage. Now, the very interesting thing is, and it's not in the book because I didn't even know about this until last week, in 930 BC, Israel divided into Judea, the northern kingdom, and the southern kingdom. And it stayed divided, strangely enough, until 1967.
Wow.
And that is actually 42 generations of 70 years. What are the chances of that? And 42 is quite significant from a biblical point of view. Won't go into that just yet. We'll talk about that another time. But that was another thing. And then, of course, on top of this, we have Matthew 24. Mm-hmm. Jesus talks about a final generation that will not pass away until all these things have happened. All these things that are lined up and happen in this final generation, if you go to Daniel 9:24, which we've read all those 7 points, you work all the way through to Matthew and all the points, all the verses in Matthew 24, you will see that they all fit into this time frame. Yep. And that is conclusive. There's absolutely no way in the world that 1967 does not have any significance. It is the most important
So to keep it
time.
simple, 48 is not God's time. That's United Nations time.
Yep.
67 is God's time.
100%
That's
God's
the
time.
difference.
Yep.
You know, that is the difference.
Hacker Man. He's the most powerful hacker of all time.
So we're seeing it right now. And so if anybody actually hangs their head on 1948, knowing what we've just told you about 1967, I'd be absolutely astounded. I'd be astounded. Put a comment in on our website or on our video, because I'd just love to know how you could dispute it. And unfortunately, 99% of all the churches actually work on 1948. So possibly they might pay attention and realise the error of their ways and do it that way. The other important thing is we know through Psalm 90:10 a generation is 70 biblical years. There's no question about that. All the way through.
It's the only verse in the Bible that mentions a generation.
Correct. And if you work on 1948 and you add 70 biblical years on it, it comes out of 2017. So in other words, it's past its use-by date. So it makes it totally irrelevant. Whereas if you work on 1967, and this timeline we'd be talking about it in the next chapter, we go into the timelines, it'll come out in 2036. So there you are.
Robinson. Such strength and such speed. Look at this. Robinson aiming for the corner, Fowler after him. And Robinson, breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking.
1948 is man's timeline. 1967 is God's timeline. That's the difference.
It's come from a standing start. Absolutely brilliant. Robinson, magnificent from Robinson. Robinson taking them on. Robinson dancing his way. Robinson. Well, that is the try of the match. Jinked and danced and dazzled his way to the line.
Mr. Twinkletoes, he'll remember
Robinson picked up the dregs. He heads off for the line. Sailor to beat. Does that and puts it down. Well, is he having a game or what? Robinson, he'll be